Well, hello everyone. Hola from La Paz, Mexico. I'm broadcasting this live. You may be watching it later after it's been taped, but it is live. I'm using Zoom. If you're not familiar with Zoom, you may want to start looking into it. It's a very convenient, easy to use way to do live video, have meetings online, and record those while you are creating all that goodness. So check out Zoom if you get a chance. The other thing I'll be experimenting with coming up in 2019 more is YouTube Live. So I'm really excited about that, and there'll be more about that coming soon. So welcome to this November workshop on extreme kudos and extreme video makeover. It's one of the most fun things I think that we do, because it gives you a chance to actually see what I'm talking about. You can read about framing, you can read about lighting, but until you actually see examples, it has a hard time sticking, and I know that's true. So that's why I came up with this. So having said that, the spirit of the makeover is all constructive and positive. I'm not criticizing anybody in a negative way. And because any video almost is better than none. So, and the thing that I like about this is there are easy tweaks that you can do to create, to up the what we call production value, which is how a video looks. We can up the production value pretty easily if you just try a few different things. So today we're going to talk about my star client and one of my best friends actually on the planet. I've known her for many years, and I'm super excited to be working with her once again on her videos. Her name is Barb Griffith-Steinberg, and she is a super talented teen life coach. She works with teenage girls and the adults that take care of them, parents and other people in their lives, on navigating those tricky waters of the teen years. And she's fabulous. So her website is barbsteinberg.com. You can check that out. And what I'm super proud of her is she's been working locally in her market in Austin for many years and doing a great job. And now she's putting one of her most popular workshops online in video. So she has created 10 modules. Once she decided and made some space for it, it just kind of flowed out of her. It was really amazing to watch. And the other reason I want to highlight Barb and give huge kudos is she is super resilient. And this is something I'm going to be talking about more with more short videos going forward, because I have seen it is an essential piece of getting started with the video process and continuing it. If you don't have resiliency around learning this new format, which to be honest is sometimes a pain in the ass, and I'll tell you why in a minute if you haven't already experienced it, then it's going to feel heavy and you're going to miss out on the joyful piece, which is seeing the effect that your videos have on your audience, which is the end game, right? Right. So the reasons why it can be challenging is, and Barb was a perfect example of this, it was like Murphy's Law, about everything that could, every little irritating thing that could go wrong kind of did for her. Like her light kit came and it was missing an essential piece. But the upshot of that was, we talked about it, and I said, go down to the camera store in Austin. I know, because I used to live there. There's a great couple camera video stores there, super nice people. Go make friends with them and ask them. And that's what she did, and she got it figured out, and now she has a local contact to ask as well. So that's a tip for you too. And then literally once she was taping, she went to get some lunch, she's taping in her home office. She went to have some lunch. She comes back and her cat was chewing on her microphone. So basically anything that's going to go wrong, it has a pretty good possibility of doing so. And I don't know why that is, but I have seen that in every area of my life and most of my clients. Once we say, okay, we're going to stretch ourselves and we're going to do this, then all of a sudden a lot of annoying resistance pops up, and it doesn't seem like it's coming from us. And I don't know if it is or not. If we're attracting resistance to push through it, I don't know. But don't be surprised if once you start doing this, it doesn't flow as smoothly as you think. And it probably will take a little longer than you think. Okay, so that's not necessarily part of the makeover piece, but it is getting you, it's getting to the idea that part of resiliency is looking at your video footage and saying, oh, and tweaking it, saying, oh, I could do that better. And it's another thing Barb did. She said, is there something I could be doing, you know, any mistakes I'm making or to improve? Awesome question. Thank you for that. And her videos are just going to get better and better. And as you'll see, these are her first ones, and they're already really good. So let's start with, I'm going to share my screen. Oh, and then after we talk about Barb, we're going to go quickly to another one of my favorite YouTubers as an example for you guys, Kylie Carlson. She's an Australian business coach. And I've had an email exchange with her. She's been super busy. I have too, but I want to eventually do an interview with her because what she's doing is a great template for what a coach can do with video. And she's doesn't have a jillion followers yet, but it's growing pretty steadily because of the way she's doing it. Okay, we'll look at her videos in a minute too. All righty, I'm going to share my screen. And let's see, I think I'm just going to share Google with you. There we go, share. So I don't want to be in Barb's hub. There we go. Okay. So here's the first one that I want to show you. So this is footage from the very beginning of her first module. And she's following our, you know, Mirror Your Brilliance method on this, on video method. And so she's got a pretty uncluttered background here. If I can make this bigger. Yes, I can. Hold on. Yeah. So she looks great. And her top is not distracting, correct? And the background is pretty good. She's simplified, only has a couple things, some plants, you know, nothing like super junky on the wall here. She let that be empty space, which I really appreciated for her shot here. Her lower third this is not conventional placement, but it works fine for this. And what I mean by conventional is from news reports and stuff back in the day in television and movies. We don't worry too much about it, but the term lower third, that's what this is. It's an identifying piece of your video that tells your audience who you are. And this is why often I say you don't have to start your video with, hi, I'm Sally Smith, because we're going to tell people that in the lower third. But just as an aside. So technically, you know, we might move this over a little bit, but it's okay. And this doesn't stay on the screen for very long. It's kind of, it fades in for a few seconds and then it fades out so that she's been identified. Okay. Here, one thing I would, so in terms of kind of making over this video, I would like to see this line here, this frame here, not quite so close to the middle of her face. Because as I've lectured about before, I don't want to see things growing out of the top of your head. Now, it's not totally terrible because I do like the way the line is drawing your attention here to her face. You know, our attention is being drawn to her face. The other thing for this is the framing is a little bit wide. And by that, I mean, there's kind of a lot going on besides just her. I kind of like to see it a little bit tighter in. But in general, this is a perfectly, obviously workable shot. No worries here. The lighting looks great. Look at the light in her eyes. Yay, Barb. You did an awesome job. Okay. Here we have the same setting, but this is even better because look at the frame of the picture behind her is not growing out of her head, which I love. It's more just framing her face here a little bit. And once again, she's left this, you know, this blank space here. She didn't feel a need to put something up there. Great. And then the little plants and stuff are pretty simple. I might actually do away with this one, but it's fine. At some point, it becomes about personal preference. But I do like to ask you to limit the background to, you know, maximum 3 doodads. 3 doodads maximum. It simplifies your life too. So yeah, this is a pretty good shot. Now, let me go back. No. So if I were editing this, I think what I would do, and this is the idea around when I say, you know, I want your face to be the center of attention, and that is the first priority. But second priority is you can give us a little bit of room here, because what the editor can do is the editor can go in afterwards and they can tweak your framing and pretty much make it perfect. So especially here where her face in relation to what's behind her is well placed. Up here we can't do much about where her face is in relation to things behind her, right? Because I can't move this without doing a bunch of fancy unnecessary, you know, editing tricks like that nobody would want to pay an editor to do for this kind of videos. I can't physically like move her face over, right? So, but down here, I have a little more to work with. Now, you remember we talked about thirds, and this is all in the Ultimate Guide. So please check out the framing part of the Ultimate Guide once again, because I give you, you know, pictures and lines, and I draw on the photos in that part of the Ultimate Guide to help you realize what we're talking about when we're talking about thirds. So in a rectangular composition like this, especially, it applies to square too, but you want to be thinking about, here's the top third here, and here's the lower third, correct? Más o menos, right? Then here's the third here, and here's the third here. Now, ideally, her eye line would be kind of more over here, because it's the intersection of this third. And since she's talking to the camera, it's okay for her to be a little more like in between, not on the line of the third, but sort of in between, like to our right. Let's see, I will try to draw. Here's a, no, I won't try to draw. I'll try to figure out how to draw next time. Okay, at any rate. So I kind of like where her face is as far as in the long ways of the frame, the rectangle here, but I would like to see her face up a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do, Shift 4, is I'm going to crop it and kind of show you what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can do this right. Comes out well. Yeah, okay, and that went on my desktop, so I'll move it over here. So that is the shot. Probably if I were an editor, more or less, that's where I would crop it, because now her eye line is up a little bit higher, but she's still nicely in this area here. She could be in the center. I mean, since she's talking straight to the camera, we could even do it where she's in the center more. See what that looks like. Yeah, that's a really great shot right there too. That's pretty much almost perfect. In the materials, I do coach you guys to go ahead and leave some room to the left, and you can do that because if you end up wanting to put like little words in there to emphasize things, or put a little image that pops up to emphasize things, it just gives you that flexibility. But you can also center yourself in the center of the frame, especially if you're talking to the camera directly. So those are just two options for you. Okay, so there we have, it's not an extreme makeover, but here's what we started with. Here is if we were going to put her over to the left a little bit, and here is if we were going to put her more in the center. And if I were an editor, this is probably what I would do. Okay, and also, as you know, I talk about how much more video is being viewed on phones, especially depending on the demographic that you're targeting. Barb's targeting busy, to be honest, a lot of busy moms and some dads as well, but also teen girls. And guess what? They're going to be watching a lot of her videos on their phone. So she wants to be sure that she has footage that is well optimized for that. Now, having said all that, this is perfect for her to start with. This is what her modules look like. And I also can envision somebody sitting down with a cup of coffee, you know, on a Sunday morning saying, I'm going to dive into Barb's workshop, because and watch it on their laptop, where this format works out really well as well. Because her, workshop format, the mental state of your client is different than if they're just cruising through their Facebook feed. Does that make sense? So start thinking about the space that you're inviting your client into. Like, what is their experience when they're going to be watching it? Are they going to be rushed and in a hurry, or trying to get their attention and have unicorns, shooting out of the frame? I saw that in a video the other day. Or will it be something that they have purchased? In this case, they'll have purchased, they're going to sit down with her and actually probably take notes and really be listening. Very different mindset of your client. And so any of these framings works well with that. All right. I think if I were doing Facebook ads for these for Barb, in fact, she's going to be producing some short videos from this for Facebook, I might counsel her to go ahead and have the editor crop in a little bit closer, because in a Facebook context with a short video, she wants to get attention more quickly. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, please hit me up with some questions and let me know. Alrighty. Let's see. So here's the next one. And this one, she actually framed, and do you see how this one is kind of similar to that? So here, she's definitely getting the hang of it. Yeah, because this framing, which I created just here from her other clip, she pretty much nailed it. And this is pretty much the perfect home shot. So go Barb, awesome, you're doing great. And again, I love that her choice of clothing is very simple, stylish, simple, and great colors for her. She has an eye for that. If you don't, and like I counseled before, you can ask a friend who does, or perhaps even trade services with a stylist, or you could figure out a way to get some help around just a few simple tops for your videos. And that's the other thing I like about our technique, is you don't have to think about what outfit am I going to wear on my video. That, for women, that brings in just a whole slew of stress and question marks. And even if you love fashion, it's something that, if it's like a second level power move. If you want to worry about showing more of your outfit on camera, we can always do that later. Like I always say, you can always get fancier. What I want to do is get started. I want you to get started like Barb is here, looking fabulous and awesome from about, chest level up. Okay, great. And the last tip is shoot as wide as you can, but with keeping yourself closer to the camera. And what I mean by wide is, so this is a wider shot here than this one, okay? Meaning the wide is how much of the background is showing. So you want to, once again, nothing wrong with this shot at all, because what it did is it gave us options in the edit, and it still looks really great. This one is shot a little bit closer in, and because her framing is, she cut her top of her head off a little bit, but that's okay. But in this shot, we don't have, as an editor, I don't have many options as far as cropping it. I don't need to, but if I were to want to, I don't have as many options in cropping it, because I don't have any headspace here. And I wouldn't want to move her any more over to the left, probably a touch to the right if, but wouldn't need to, okay? So you want to, shoot as wide as you can to give the editor some options, but you still want to keep yourself the focus of the shot, that's definitely the case here. And she's the focus of the shot here too, not because she's like super close in, but because there's not tons going on behind her. Okay? All right, so awesome, Barb. You did a great job. I'm so proud of you. So happy to be working with you again. And I cannot wait to continue and see how things turn out for you in 2019 with your workshop videos. All right, now let's jump over to Kylie Carlson's YouTube channel. Okay, so she started in 2017. All right, so she's coming up just on a year, and she has 15,000 views. Part of the reason for that is she got organized and she did this the right way. She has 548 subscribers, which is pretty good for a whole year. But I believe that YouTube, again, I've talked to her briefly, but well, I've emailed briefly, but I haven't talked to her. I want to get her story behind how she's doing, why and how she's doing this. I believe though that YouTube is her platform of choice. I don't think she's putting the same amount of effort into Facebook, although she's on Facebook, and Instagram. But I believe that YouTube is the place she's trying to drive traffic, because guess what? This is where you can connect with video with the most effect, most results. Okay, I wanted to look at her videos though. And we had a question around thumbnails. Okay, these are thumbnails, these little pictures. If you don't know, these are thumbnails. And that comes, I think it's a term from the old days of photography in production, like magazine production and stuff, when they would be looking at a lot of small versions of photos they might be choosing, and literally it's about the size of a thumbnail, right? So that's what, you know, they have all these, a row of small pictures, and they call them thumbnails. This is the same thing. And in YouTube and Vimeo, your thumbnail, when you make it like this, so YouTube will choose a thumbnail for you if you don't choose it. If you're branding your channel, you're going to want to choose it. And that's what, and you're going to want to create them, have them created by a graphic designer, and you upload the thumbnail separately in the upload process. I don't have time to show you that now, and it's not part of this topic, but I just want to point out really quickly, those are thumbnails. And when you upload your videos, there's a place in Vimeo and in YouTube that gives you another option to upload a custom thumbnail. And that's what you do. It's like a photo file, but it's basically, it's a graphic that's been created for you, or you created. Okay. And you can see the reason why thumbnails are popular, because it's telling people what is in the video, and it's drawing people to the video. Okay. Let's see. Want to show how she's evolving. Stop comparing your business. Okay, you can see in this video, this to me is a great, you know, it's a very nice shot, but there's a lot going on that maybe she wouldn't have had to have worried about. Now, again, I don't know how she's doing this, but if she were my client, somebody came to me starting out, I would say, obviously, well, you guys think about it for a minute. What would I say? I would say shoot closer in. This shot is too wide. There's too much to worry about in it. And the light in the background is kind of distracting. I know why they put it there. I would have turned it around and pointed it kind of at the wall so it was bouncing. But I wouldn't have done that because I wouldn't have had it in the shot. I would have cropped this in, and her eye line is a little bit high. We're seeing lots of detail down here that we don't need. And again, if I'm seeing this on my phone, let's see. So if I'm seeing this on my phone, I would like to shrink this a little bit. I can't get it to come up. All right, sorry. Well, if I was trying to make it smaller, but if I was seeing this on my phone, her face and her eyes, which are super important in these kind of videos, are getting lost in the shuffle because there's so much going on. So let's see. And her eye line is a little bit high. See how her eye line is kind of in the upper fifth of this frame. It's, you know, it really, to be in the upper thirds, it should be lower, but I can't really do anything about that, although maybe I would do this. Or maybe I would do this. Let's go back to this one. Let's pull her over. So here's her shot, okay? So this is how, that's a square. And square video is another sort of next level power move. You don't have to worry about square video right now. So maybe let's not worry about that one. Okay, so this is the shot probably I would have started out for Kylie. Now the other one looks really great, but I think for grabbing attention and making that eye contact and, you know, that facial expression, I would like to see more of her face and her expression. And because she's really funny, you should watch her videos. She's great. Okay. So in that one, I think there's just kind of way too much going on, even though it all looks really nice. Some things that she did right is I like her top. It's, you know, a simple top, but it's got some style to it. And if she wanted to, you know, if you were to crop this in a little more, you could move this plant over closer to her. Sometimes when you're staging your shots, you're going to move things closer to you than feel natural in real life, because you're framing it with the camera. So, okay, so that's one thing that I would do with her. And then the last one, let's go look at her channel, because I wanted to show you how, oh, interesting. Again, no, that's the same wide shot. I thought maybe she had cropped in. But see how she cropped in on that shot for her thumbnail? Because she knows she's trying to get attention. You know, they're trying to get attention. I did see one. Okay, here we go. This is what I like. This is a great shot. I like this one. And part of the other point I'm trying to make is what I think is happening, and I haven't reviewed all of her most current videos, but what I'm seeing happening at some other YouTube stars is they're moving away from the very, you know, the kind of the talk show format, you know, that Marie Forleo really popularized, or the, you know, counselor on the beautiful, you know, the coach or counselor on the beautiful couch or in the nice setting with, you know, everything around her. We are moving away from that, and the business reasons are because people are watching more video on their phone, and so you want to be seen really clearly on the phone and not look this big in a really beautiful environment. Does that make sense? Okay, so here she's doing that. She's simplifying her background. She's simplifying her setup quite a bit. In this, she didn't have to worry about, you know, the couches, the pillows on the couch behind her. Some other things she's doing right here. This is an interesting element, this brick thing here. I might move her over just a tad. It's not growing out of the middle of her head, so kudos for that. But this could be an element that kind of, her face is maybe over more this way. And then she may have even been able to, you know, move that over to cover the switch on the wall. But those are, you know, minor points. There is some light. Now, kudos, she's got some light going on, so awesome. And it is catching her eye, so that's great. But there is a funky shadow. And so I'd like to see a light source coming from this direction, maybe, you know, if that was possible. She had a box light. So at any rate, but it's all great. I mean, she did a great job. So again, all my criticism is not negative, it's constructive. I love her top, and look at and she has mic'd herself in an interesting way. She's put it kind of behind her, it's running up the back. And that's one way to think about it too. Okay. So those are my suggestions for this one. Move her head over just a tad, and this element is actually a nice, interesting one that you don't often see. So I do like that piece of it. Alrighty, and the flowers are better than just a blank wall with a switch on it. Okay, all right, so those are my tips for extreme video makeovers for this month, and thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, please put them up in the Facebook group, and we will be in touch with more about what's happening in 2019, because I'm going to be firing up my YouTube channel and sharing that process with you guys. All right, thank you so much, and thanks again, Barb, for letting us use your shots. Awesome. Okay, bye-bye.